BMNR stock is up on the day around 20%. The question is, has crypto bottomed? Has Bitcoin, Ethereum, and ultimately has the stock market formed a bottom? And are now we going to start seeing the buyers flood back into the market heading towards Christmas? Now, we've seen a lot of viewpoints specifically from Tom Lee and what's happening with BMNR, what's going on with Ethereum, a lot of excuses. Guys, I don't want to overhype anything. I try to get the most real expectation of where we're at and how we're moving. But again, I do believe, and I want to state this before we say anything in this video, when it comes to trading stocks based off of crypto and trading crypto related stocks, I do firmly believe risk to reward, BMNR has one of the highest reward opportunities. However, the risk is there as well. Okay, but we need to understand where we're at, ultimately where we're going, and everything we need to be looking at. We're going to do a pretty big dive in what's happening on this past week. We had some news surrounding that, going into the Bitcoin chart as well as you came down into our overall demand, which is the demand from the weekly, I might add here as well. So it's a monster support. And ultimately, are you forming that bottom? Ethereum as well coming down to support, bouncing off of it, heading back towards the 200 daily moving average will be key over the next few days and weeks, because that's going to be the dictating factor. Can BMNR push back to 50, 60, and all-time highs potentially? And that's what everyone's really here for. Let's not waste any time. Let's get to work. Now, before we go too far, I do want to tell you guys right now, if you're unfamiliar or if you're on the channel often, this is the only time we ever do a sale all year long is during this week. And again, the 60% sale will only last, I believe, for till tomorrow. So again, if you're interested, the link is down below for our Discord. Everything on the site should be 60% off with code OD60. Take advantage while you can. Again, it's there for you. But let's get back to the video of what we're looking at here. Now, again, the only big things fundamentally that's happening on BMNR, let's go over that first, okay? So I do want to address, and I want to be very clear, okay? I don't think BMNR, I don't think Ethereum is going to $6,000 before year end. Could it happen? 100%. Anything could happen, right? Flood of buyers, short squeeze, whatever, right? Anything could happen. But that's not my mentality when I'm looking at BMNR. And some of you might be upset about that, but that's just not a realistic viewpoint that I'm saying, okay, well, my trade plan is that Ethereum's going to double, go up 100% in the matter of 40 days. That's not really a trade plan. That's wishful thinking. And maybe it happens and maybe that's cool, but yeah, I don't really care. But why you're getting upside right now, let's talk about that. And I will say, I do think the market has made a short-term bottom, to say the least. Okay, so Bitmine Immersion added, this is the first thing, added 195 million worth of Ethereum to its stockpile this past week, and its stock continued to fall to 4-month lows, according to what happened on Monday. Although the value of Bitmine Immersion's Ethereum holdings have recently plunged, the company said that it now owns a total of 3% finally, which is its ultimate goal of getting to 5% total stake of Ethereum, equating to 3.63 million Ethereum. The company reserves were valued at 10.1 billion based on current prices. Now, again, a little bit more that's interesting is their earnings that they just had, which I could really have cared less for. But when you look at what's happening here, it's the first crypto company that exists, first large cap crypto company to pay a dividend. Even though it's tiny, they're still paying a dividend. That is awesome to see that staking is still going back to the investors and at least providing you with something. Again, that is one of the best things that possibly could be out there. And again, one of the other focal points of why I do think if anything is worth the risk out there, BMNR is worth the risk when it comes to crypto related stocks. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like Mara. I don't like any of these mining cryptos like Mara, Riot. I don't care about them. Don't like it. Right? I actually love that BMNR is getting out of any of the mining game and solely into the investing game of Ethereum. That's another reason why I love them also, okay? Now, we need to understand that when we're looking at. Now, one thing I'll point out is what's happening with some of the other names that are in the sector, okay? MicroStrategy, again, still below your big level of $200, your previous all-time high, definitely very weak. Coinbase still moving down as well, broke below your 285 level, sitting around 256, still showing weakness as well. And honestly, if it breaks below 235, this could go down plummeting. So I just want to also highlight that it's not just BMNR getting hit out here. It's the market as a whole. And I would actually argue, I mean, BMNR, don't get me wrong, had a dip, nasty dip, saw some selling, don't get me wrong, okay? But some of these other names look arguably worse, which is important to understand where you're at. Now, you have dropped over like 50% from these local highs back here of $60 as well. So make that clear also. Now, when we look back at where we're at and how we're moving, again, you're holding above the 200 SMA, which is going to be very, very key. But I want to shift the focus quickly to Ethereum so we know what's going on here, because ultimately we need Ethereum to bounce. We need buyers to step in if we're going to see anything happening here. Okay. I want to make that abundantly clear. Okay. Now, when you look here at the daily, you came down to our previous highs that you had back here. This is basically when you had your tariffs tariff collapse of the stock market. You kind of made local highs here in June before you popped off and went into all-time highs for a little short period right there. So what you want to see is, can we get back above 3,050 right there on Ethereum? If you do that, I think you'll work back towards your 200 daily moving average. That's going to be the focus here. Okay. Now I do think you want to see Bitcoin bounce as well. I would love to see crypto as a whole move up, not just Ethereum. Again, get us all moving back in the right direction. Again, you're bouncing where you need to. Like I mentioned, this is a good look. If you start breaking 74K, I think crypto continues selling overall. Now, again, I mentioned that I think the market has most likely made a short-term bottom. I don't want to, guarantee this, but again, worth mentioning. You go look at something like SPY on higher time frames, like the daily, which is very important because there's a direct correlation between how crypto moves and how it follows the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So again, you're seeing SPY hold our support 654, 653, bouncing up aggressively here on the day. Now, again, you're seeing a bounce on crypto, but it's not as strong, in my opinion, as SPY and the rest of the market. So that is worth mentioning. That being said, BMNR, you're definitely seeing the buying pressure kick in with around a 20% move to the upside, which again, we still have a long ways to go. So I don't want to be like, oh my God, we've been collapsing, dumping for, weeks, days, whatever it may be. And we get the first sign of a bounce, like, oh, this is awesome. You're still red, you're still down. It is worth mentioning. And again, what were our two buy zones? If you were interested in buying this thing, it was right here. Again, the same levels, they don't go anywhere. So again, there and then here as well. So ideally, we want to see a break back above 33, retest and shooting back towards 40, $45 as well, ideally. Now, again, the other part that you're looking at here is coming back into this and making a higher high out of this. Okay, so you can still see we've just been pushing down. You have this little bit of a fake out here, but ultimately just continue the trend back towards the downside. So we want to see if buyers can start stepping back up, get above the 50-day moving average, make a higher high, and start trending back towards $60 as well. I think we have a little ways to go to that. Let's not jump the gun. Now, again, the other side of this as well is you go to something like the economic calendar. So again, you're going to have PPI this week. I think GDP got canceled. I don't know if it's going to come out. We'll see. Again, a lot of the data that we're going to be getting over the next few weeks, it's kind of old data since the government shutdown just happened. So again, we need to wait and see how this reacts. But some of the good stuff that is happening right now that's pricing into the market and what we want to see, and you need to understand a lot of this stuff just builds on top of each other. But again, this is some of the stuff we've been discussing. Again, is now you're seeing the likelihood of a December rate cut back at almost 80% here from call sheet as well, back at 76%. That went all the way down to lows of around 20% on this past week. So it's definitely good to see this. And you're also seeing Fed members come out with a viewpoint of they want to cut rates, right? So Fed Waller specifically, my concern is mainly the labor market. Again, what's happening with unemployment. And again, what he's talking about there, you may see more of a meeting by meeting approach once you get into January, but again, saying that they're most likely going to cut coming into December, which again could ease a lot of concerns, which is definitely one of the reasons why we started seeing a shock to the downside. That being said, is that more of a band-aid on the wound? Is it actually a solution? That's the real question now. And again, I don't want to jump to conclusions or tell you X, Y, Z are going to happen. But as of right now, in the short term, you're looking for said bounce. Now, if we start holding back below here on BMNR around $28, again, you're going to have a lot of weakness. I mean, when you held it the first time, you dropped from $28.7 down to $24 in a hurry. So again, that's really what you're making up for right now with this bounce. And that's really what we need to see is holding above the 200 SMA, grinding back into 40. We don't need to see a quick boom. We don't need to see a straight up move, but again, we do want to see buyers getting involved. And like I said, when you compare this to names like MicroStrategy is up 5% on the day, BMNR is up 20% on the day. Again, I can just stretch this out so you can see as well the number right here. So again, right here, you can see that. Again, BMNR, 19% give or take, going to Coinbase. Again, 6% going to some of these trash names like Mara. Again, I think Mara is an absolute dog shit stock. So again, if you're buying it, lose money at your own will, but again, already back down to April lows here. That's why MAR is so trash. Again, Riot as well looks a little bit better, holding your 200 SMA, but ultimately probably coming down back towards those lows. So again, I'm not super interested in these minor names. I have no desire to trade them. I don't think they make any money. I don't think they're good long-term at all. People might disagree with me, but that's my personal opinion. But again, worth mentioning, this just shows you the overall momentum that BMNR can get in the short term as well, and why I've been so big on tracking it. Again, I want to make it very clear. And I say the same things over and over so people don't run and jump to conclusions. But again, the idea of BMNR is, look, if crypto pops off, it's going to be a big move. It's not going to be a small move. I don't think it's going to be, conservative. I think it's going to be aggressive. I think it's going to be very strong. And that's what I'm going to be looking for. So I want to make that really clear as we approach this, as we're looking at this and everything that's going in behind the scenes, what I'm looking for there as well. Now, also too, guys, I recommend following on Twitter. So again, if you want to get all the charts, all the updates, videos, extra stuff like that, it's all on Twitter. Check it out. The links are down below as well. Again, I'm posting charts all throughout the day, what I'm looking at, different setups, etc. So take advantage while you can. Again, it's there for you, as well as the Discord and the YouTube and the TikTok. It's all there for you. So again, what we're looking at now. Now, going into the next few days, what do we want to see? Again, I don't think there's going to be anything fundamentally that's going to come out as far as BMNR that's going to change anything, but this is overall really good to see. And again, I do think the dividend is something that like we shouldn't put lightly. Like, is it a massive dividend? No, but it's still showing that they're actually doing things to, you know, help the people that are actually invested into the stock to at least get something. For me, if I'm looking at this, I'm just reinvesting the dividends back into it. Again, how I would be viewing this as well for myself. A few of the other cheaper names that I've been tracking, been watching. Again, SoFi, a lot of you guys like this name. I'll make a update video on them later this week. But again, you're finding buyers at 25, 24.7. Like we mentioned, you're buying right off of it. Again, the same trade, rinse and repeat over and over and over. No reason to overcomplicate this. Very simple trade there. Also, again, a little bit more as well. Oscar's another name we talked about buying at $13, $13.5. You hit $17 almost here on the day. Great, fantastic move there as well. So all in all, HIMS came back to 35, bouncing so far, trying to get back into 40, 42. Really love to see this, and all the other, you know, major caps that we're buying, like Nebius and Tempest. Those are all doing really good as well. So we're really happy with where we're at. Again, where things get to this area of confirmation of continuation is what you want to see on the stock market. Is the SPY getting above 674, going into QQQ? Want to see QQQ get above 613, 614 roughly to get the continuation on the market as well. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm watching. If you have any questions, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Twitter is also the best way to ever get a response from me. Just tag me in a question, post a chart, and hopefully I can get back to you as quickly as possible. Have a good one, traders. See you in the next video.